Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Summer Kitone, who's not actually on the screen yet. That's okay, here she is. I'm going to be using the Alum Friend Unit version to be showing off in this review. And before I start this review, I'm going to just say really quickly that this is the fifth basically limited in a row for the JP side. So that is a big, strong consideration for my overview as a Japanese player who is kind of just really tired of bad step-ups and, having to grind out a ton of shards in a small amount of time, especially after Final Fantasy IV and getting both Cecil and Kain. I'm not overly incredibly interested in this unit personally. However, for anybody on the global side, I will give this unit a fair shake in this review. All right, so let's talk about Summer Kitone, because Summer Kitone is, she is primarily a magic-based attacks unit. That is her primary goal. And if we are going to talk about a summer unit, all right, so yeah, let's just get into it. So Summer Kitone features 3 primary jobs. She has a brand new job called Messenger or Oracle, or I really want to see what the translation is going to work out as. Orator was another one that I've heard bounced around, but I'm not entirely sure how this is going to be translated to English. So yeah, we're just gonna. The important thing about this job is it does not appear to be a limited time job, because the job materials are in the pink mats farm. So that means that this is not like a Kain or a Rosa. You're going to be able to get these job orbs outside of this event. And not only that, you'll also be able to probably see a unit with these kind of abilities in the future, so that's good for that. Her secondary job is Rune Knight, which is similar to Howlet, and her third job is Ninja, which is a definite nice extra job to have. Now, my overall impression of her base stats, basically Ninja is there for a couple things. Stat boosting in terms of speed and agility, and increasing her range of movement, and that's about it. You're almost never going to run at this point on the JP side, there's almost no point to run her as a ninja, because there's just regular Kitone if you want a physical version of her. And not only that, there's a ton of other physical units. So this unit I don't think is ever going to excel at physical damage. Magical damage is much more interesting. Now, one primary thing that was interesting about her is the fact of her element. She is a fire elemental and a mage. So that is, interesting given the number of ice units that have popped up on the JP side. In general, it seems, Agrius, who was a pretty common tank a little while ago, wow, this unit would be a pretty good answer to that. She also might be a pretty good answer to other things. Now, why she is so good, let's go over her key points very quickly. First of all, she's a magical attacker with what is called mental penetration. In other words, she has the ability to get by spirit stat, which makes her attacks, much more useful overall, because that seems to be something that's making a lot of units just really valuable as damage dealers, is just being able to get by the defense stat or the spirit stat. Here reminds me a little bit of Howlet, and that is definitely a good thing, because I really enjoy having Howlet. He is a very powerful damage dealer, so I expect Summer Kitone to be as well. Also, very strong key point about her is her limit burst, and we'll show off her limit burst a little bit later. Her limit burst is just a high damage dealer. It's a magic, but it also has a probability of casting sleep in a plus pattern. In other words, it can catch multiple enemies in it, and sleep resistance, not the highest thing available, so it could be a real nightmare for certain PvP situations, which I think is really good. Also, high spirit and strong magic attacks. As you can see, this current build, though, should be noted that it is currently running a 21 spirit armor, as well as a 10 spirit, but she even has a little bit of a spirit passive to increase that. So she can take a bit of magic damage, which is good. I was wondering how she would deal with a unit like Adira, who is a powerful water mage, or, Miranda, and maybe she can tank it. But should be noted that her HP, switching over to some of the problems I think she has, her HP is definitely potentially a problem. And with that being said, Summer Kitone is also not really good at taking long-range attacks. She could be potentially okay with it, but you're probably going to want to buff her shooting resistance because, like, as I said, I think that the major problem is almost no defense stat here, and the other thing, unless you want to build her equipment-wise to be able to deal with that. And also, not only that, but really, while she has really good range of movement, that is something that I think is very strong. First of all, if you run the ninja passive instead, you're looking at a 4-2 move jump, which is good. And she has in her primary kit a ability that boosts her move and jump. So she can have a move and jump of 5 and 3. That is very strong in terms of movement. But while that is definitely very strong in terms of movement, doesn't necessarily mean that she will survive across the map. If she moves in too quick, if she moves in just a little too efficiently, depending on the map, she could get caught in a lot of early crossfire, which could just get her killed. Her HP stats not incredibly high, and this is with some, pretty high armor. And if you're going to swap out, the spirit stat for more vital builds, I think that you're just going to get dinged in other ways by not having a defense or spirit stat. So, not quite sure how good she'll be. Obviously, I think in certain matchups she'll be pretty good, and live PvP she'll probably be pretty damn strong, but in terms of AI, I don't know if she's durable enough to get there. Now, because some people were saying, hey, we want you to talk a little bit more about resistances, let's take a look at the way she's built. Now, if I remember correctly, Shiva does give some fire resistance if she is built properly, as well as pierce resistance. Now, taking a look at Summer Kitone, what do we see here? Well, pretty good against slash and magic. That's actually really interesting. Another unit that we see a fair bit on the JP side lately is Rain. Probably to counter the number of Agriuses. People were like, oh, just build Rain. And I think that she could, just in terms of looking at Summer Kitone, she might be really good for just magical damage and just slash damage, since she already has some innate resistance there, and it can be potentially even stronger. Even her master ability works pretty nice, because it gives not only, there it is, some spirit stat, but also single attack resistance plus 10. So she's got some good resistances in her kit already, but she is a little weak to fists, and this is just a hypothesis, but I do think that Tifa will be coming in the near future, because 1-year anniversary, boosting game sales, Final Fantasy VII will probably do that, and they've hinted somewhere at Final Fantasy VII is on their radar. Results pending. But anyway, I do think that if Tifa comes along as a, just a water physical unit with any range, might be kind of tough for Kitone, so, Summer Kitone. So yeah. Continuing on also, shooting resistance is a little low, and that could be dangerous. Again, with not a high HP, it is a little concerning. You can build her up to be more resistant to this kind of stuff, but looks like her strength will be slash and magic attack, and that's not bad, given the type of teams that I see commonly in Guild. You do see a lot of swords, and you do see quite a few mages, so there is potential here. There is definitely potential. I don't want people to think that I'm just pooping on a unit. That usually comes later, after the digestion. But yeah, let's run through with her as you just one last time in case you didn't see the rest of her stats. Pretty high magic, good agility. HP is where I think the real problem is. Let's just run through on this map, not using auto repeat. We'll just do it once while I talk about some of her abilities. So interestingly, in her messenger kit, some of the primary things that I think are incredibly useful for her are the fact that she does have that move jump increase. She does have a sure hit ability, and it's actually one of her primary abilities, so she'll always have access to it, allowing her to deal with evade units. She also has Explode Light, or Explode Hikari. I'm doing a basic translation. Anyway, it is kind of a spread-based pattern to deal out damage against multiple enemies, which is kind of nice. And her general AP starting is pretty high, so she can cast it right from the get-go. And that is useful. I think that is a really good thing about her, is just the fact that having that kind of ability in terms of, you know, quickly using those kind of spreads is what makes Medina, Force of Habit. Medina as well as Adira as well, pretty dang strong, especially for farming. So Summer Kitone, given range of movement and everything, could be pretty good. As you can see, I think she gets a little bit outpaced by my current team, but I don't know. She's only level 80. She could become a little bit better in terms of speed as she moves up from a level 80 onwards. Although the friend units that Gummy does put up, they are pretty well built. So let's go over here real quick, and we're going to take just a quick look in here. She also has in her kit ways of increasing magical power and magical penetration for 3 turns to other allies in a pretty small buff area, and she can create a magic barrier for herself. That's all primarily in her messenger kit. Looking at her sub abilities, some more damage abilities with some good range on it. So she does have range in her kit as well, which works well with her movement. Rune Knight is basically like Howlet, Hazard Slash, and Drain, 2 abilities with pretty darn good range, some AoE, and not only that, but Drain not only heals her, but boosts her magic power. I think that Howlet, my Howlet, like, he has a higher HP, which makes that Drain a little bit better in terms of the fact that he doesn't just potentially die from potentially a single hit. So that is a little bit more stronger, I think, for Howlet than it is for Summer Kitone. But again, you could boost her HP potentially, and maybe she'll survive just fine. She also has a fire resistant down ability, so it supports that. Ninja, again, I don't think there's really a ton to talk about with Ninja. She is not a physical-based unit. Even though you could make a physical mace for her, there's just better physical units out there. And I don't think it is worth, you know, multi-purposing the unit. Stick where her strengths are, which is magic. Ninja, the great thing about it is quickness and luck up, move and jump up in terms of her passives. Not only that, her other passives just include increasing her fire attack for a little bit of water resistance down, or potentially the better one with Howlet, which is mental spirit penetration rate up and hit increase. That's just a stronger ability, I feel, than just boosting fire. And there are vision cards also out there to boost fire. Ice Blessing, which increases her ice resistance, pretty meh, but magic up of 30%, pretty standard. That's in her main job. Overall, I think that Altima kind of was going on the increasing mental and ice resistance and potentially fire attribute. I might want to go more with the spirit resistance penetration, but okay. And her one of her counters is just being able to reduce damage when damaged, which is probably pretty useful for her, again, given the HP. So yeah, the last thing to talk about, of course, with any unit is the TMR. And the TMR here is generally, it's It's kind of weird. It's hard to evaluate. 314 HP, 12 aim, 10 spirit. Okay, pretty nice. Ability is where I think the real value is, but it's kind of hard to determine how valuable this is. Silence, attract, and disable all like resistance on them. Charm immunity is interesting given the number of Lamias that kind of have been popping up, and the fact that Charm is kind of a pain in the butt status effect. But is it really worth farming an entire limited unit just for that? Feels like high PvP bait. I don't know. I'm going to say that the TMR is probably not worth it. Overall, and last but not least, let's show off the Limit Burst, because of course we got to show off the Limit Burst. It's cute. I love the hula hoops of doom and cuteness and more doom. Yeah. Overall, I think that Summer Kitone is probably more in line of a glass cannon, especially with the build that I've seen of her. She seems to be quite capable of dealing with multiple different problems, including, you know, she has self HP restore, she has she has spirit penetration, so she can get by a unit's defenses. She has pretty good magic and slash resistance, which, given the number of units that are slash and magic in the game, sure, good. But her total HP is pretty low, and I feel like that is a big enough weakness to be a concern. Especially with the fact that she may just move into range a little too effectively sometimes. But could you probably tweak her AI to be good? Sure, any UR can be good with the proper build, the proper vision cards, and all of that. But it is the 5th limited unit in a row, so for JP players, I'm probably saying that you can pass this unit and not feel too bad. But if you did get her and were able to get her to 99, she'll serve you well. As for globalers in the future, if you are primarily trying to go against the mage and sword meta, this unit's naturally just very strong. If you find that guns are really being a problem, and you don't have a lot of, you know, potential ways of getting shooting resistance, this might not be the unit for you, because we'll get picked apart. Or you're just going to want to pick your matches very carefully. So yeah, that is everything. I think that's basically, I've covered everything about this unit up and down. There you go. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Tell me if you're impressed with Summer Kitone or what your overall impressions are in the comment section below. And yeah, that's it for me. Take care. See ya. And by the way, I'm always just going to go with the Japanese pronunciation most of the time, so suck it.